welcome back to Shemsuniverse. So today guys, we're going to discuss Venus and all of the zodiac signs. So this is a bit of a shorter one because Venus is a very positive sort of planet. So when it goes into different signs, it's more of just like what's good about them. It just discusses love and relationships and just how we intertwine in different family relations and also, more importantly, intimate relations with other people when we meet them, and how our face from our sun sign will change in comparison to when Venus incorporates itself into our love life. So this is an interesting one if you want to know more about your relationship and why you are the way you are when it comes to intimacy. So let's delve right in today, guys. So with Aries, if you have Venus in Aries, what this means is that you're a type of person, no matter what your sun sign is, you're going to be very dynamic when it comes to your love life. You're going to be a very passionate person. Whether you're a man or a woman, you're going to be viewed as somebody who kind of takes the initiating force. You're a bit of the alpha in the relationship, if you will. You're the person that's going to make sure you're the startup person. You're the person that's going to ask the first date. You're the person that they're going to view as being bold and authoritative. The only thing you need to watch out for is being a little bit over possessive at times, and also being a bit too demanding. Meaning if you have somebody who is kind of codependent, more of a follower, and you have this leader sort of aura about you and you're authoritative, don't take advantage of them and don't expect them to incorporate your traits just because this is naturally within you from the star alignments of the universe. You're naturally like that for a reason, and you complement people that may not have that strong of an aura. So you may get with somebody who's more shy or withdrawn, and that actually works very well for you. So use this to your advantage. Moving on, next we have Venus in Taurus. This is a very good one just because Venus is Taurus's natural planet anyway. So when you have Venus here, this just means that you're somebody who may like to splurge on your partner. You're very slow, steady. You want to have a regular routine with a partner. You provide security and stability to a relationship, whether that be from a logical perspective or an emotional one or even financial. And this simply means that you're the person that will bring somebody who might be more scattered into a very grounded sense of being. So you're just similar to the Aries, where it was a very alpha sort of dominant. The Taurus is dominant in a very quiet security sense sort of way. The Aries is more about initiating force and really driving the passion into a relationship. And the Taurus is about more so grounding it and making the person feel like they're safe and secure when they're with you. So this is a very, very good one to have. Understand that not everybody's going to be as disciplined as you, not everybody's going to be as used to routine as you, and be able to stick with your sort of agenda throughout your life, especially when it comes to the love life. You just have to have understanding and openness to different people's perspectives and not be too rigid, and you'll be just fine. Moving on, next we have Venus in Gemini. This is where things start to take a little bit of a switch. Venus in Gemini is more about somebody who wants to flatter their partner through words. They're the natural wordsmith. No matter even if their sun sign's withdrawn like a Cancer or a Pisces, you got Venus with Gemini, you're going to get somebody who knows how to talk, knows the right thing to say. This is sort of the player. This is sort of the person that they really, really will get around a lot. They may not settle down right away just because Gemini is so scattered, and it's an air sort of element with the Venus, with that sensual energy. So this really brings forth a very seductive person when it comes to their words, but also somebody who may not be too honest. And I'm not trying to disrespect you or insult you if you do have this there. What I mean is be careful with what you say. People are taking it very seriously. Your words have a lot of power, especially when it comes to seduction. So just make sure that you're using that in the proper way and not using it just for bad deeds, in other words. Next, we'd have Cancer. This is my personal one. Cancers are very, very like the crab in the shell. They come out, and it's really about having a good relationship. They look at what their parents have, and they want to kind of put that into the relationship. They want to make sure that they have somebody who kind of symbolizes what their family traditionally symbolizes, so whatever that may be, they want to reflect that on their partner. They're very, very emotional. They want to provide that sort of nurturing care. They're kind of like the nurse, the doctor that wants to heal somebody. They may find somebody that may be even like wounded or traumatized and want to heal them and help them. The downside to this is that if you find the wrong person, they're going to take advantage of you and milk you like a cow. So you need to make sure that you find the right person to actually incorporate those good qualities and make sure you're giving it to the correct person so that they can appreciate you, and not just use it on the wrong person that's just going to take advantage of you and not appreciate what you're bringing to the table. Aside from that, it is a very good place to have it. If you do suffer from heartbreak as a Venus in Cancer, just make sure that you do still keep your heart open and don't close it off and go back in that shell. Moving on to Leo. So when we have Venus in Leo, this is very, very bold. This is like Aries on steroids. So we have Venus in Leo would mean somebody who's very demonstrative of their love. They're the person that's going to go on social media, show their partner do a lot of romantic dates, be the person that's going to be very spontaneous, want to perform for their partner. Their whole dating spectrum and intimate relationships, whether it be family, friends, or a loved one especially, is going to be kind of a stage for them to set, where they want to set up different atmospheres to just bring out their character. Their partner is going to be kind of like a mirror of themselves. It's going to be an extension of themselves that they want to look at and say, this person is beautiful, this person is handsome, and they represent everything that I find attractive. So these are the type of people that will actually buy their partner clothes, try to dress them, try to be very possessive over them, almost to the point where they're a product. So try to avoid the zealotry there, where you're actually just going in and over obsessing over a partner, and make sure that you remind yourself they're a human being and that you can't just make them a personification of what you want them to be. Understand they're going to be their own person, they have their own life path, they have their own star alignments, and they're going to do what the universe wants them to do ultimately. So make sure that you always keep that in mind and don't try to personify your own shadow onto somebody else. Moving on, next we have Virgo. Virgo is very demonstrative in love by being of service. And what this means is that Virgo people, when you get Venus in Virgo, they really try to show their love by whatever you lack, they're going to complement. So if you lack a good shoulder to cry on, they're going to be that shoulder. If you lack the initiating force to take part in a business or be brave in situations, they'll be that person. They're kind of chameleon-like in that way, where they can just provide a service and just complement wherever they see that you need help. The downside to this for anybody that does have this sign here is you need to be careful that you're not just shape-shifting and then neglecting yourself to then benefit somebody else, because that's going to lead to resentment in the end, and you're going to lead you to end up leaving that said person. So make sure that you're always still being yourself. You can be of service, but always provide balance there. Okay? Moving on, next we have Libra. Speaking of balance, so when you have Libra with Venus there is a very, very great sign for committed relationships. This is like the sort of teeter-totter sort of thing. They want that balance, and they always want to make sure that they're filling their role within a relationship. They're going to want to know what that is from before they enter into an intimate relationship, and then they're going to want to know how to make sure that they can maintain the relationship to the best of their ability. Venus in Libra is one of the best places to have Venus, just because it's such a beneficial sort of position to have it. It really wants to optimize relationships, whether that be through family, friends, colleagues, or an intimate partner. And they want to make sure that they maximize the potential of said relationships and make sure that you guys make a lot of money, you learn new things, and then you materialize your efforts in the best, most prosperous way. Like I said, only downside to that is if you try to compensate for the balance and it's sort of like Virgo, where you try to overcompensate and another person's not putting forth that same investment, you're going to end up losing in the end. So just be very careful there. Always make sure you're reading people and not just thinking of them for what you want them to be. Make sure that they are that said person before you put yourself into them in that sort of way. Next one we have Scorpio. This is an interesting one. When we have Venus in Scorpio, it means it's a person that's sort of secretive. They have a very mysterious aura to them that makes them very attractive. They're not very talkative, and they'll give their partner a lot of attention. The little things that you and I won't notice, they will notice. They'll notice the little things, such as what triggers somebody. They'll notice things that make them smile. They'll notice what makes them laugh. They'll notice if they have anything wrong with their body whatsoever, whether that be a pimple. They notice the very minuscule small things, and that means the most. They have the principle down packed. This makes them very, very effective seducing people, whether that be a man or a woman. And they really have a mysterious, cold sort of aura to them, or it makes you feel like they're sort of like a coquette. They don't really need anybody, and they have a sort of cold inner core that's always sustaining itself, and they have a very self-sufficient sort of aura. That is pretty much true for them for the most part. It depends what their sun, moon, and ascendant sign are, but with Venus there, it's going to give them that natural aura and natural mysterious sort of charm. If you do have that, use it to your advantage. And also just watch out for manipulating other people. Obviously, you guys have a very, very sort of surveillance sort of mindset, where you're able to really read and zoom in on people, their perspectives, why they think the way they think, why they look the way they look, why they make certain choices. Use that, but make sure you just use it in a good way. I don't have a lot of bad things to say about the Scorpio in this position, but just make sure that you are using those talents for the right things and not just manipulating people, because karma will bite you in the end. Moving on to our last few, we have Sagittarius. So Venus in Sagittarius is more so about learning. They really want to learn about new people. This is one of the least committed sort of place to have Venus, just because Venus with Sagittarius is all about expanding boundaries. It's mixed with Jupiter. It wants to expand. It wants to be noticed. It wants to go above and beyond. So people that have Venus and Sagittarius, they end up sort of getting with a partner, learning everything about them, having a great relationship, and then completely sort of neglecting it or just moving on from it for no real apparent reason aside from that they were bored. It's similar with Gemini as well. You got to be very careful. You want to make sure that you are a mutual sign. Make sure you're not changing your passions too often. If you do find somebody who associates very well with you that you find is actually complementing your life, make sure that you're taking the time to really appreciate them and keep learning more about them. And even if you feel like you've learned everything, stay with them and actually have a good, safe, and secure relationship. Because if you keep moving on and on and on, you're going to find yourself going in a circle where you're just going to go from one good relationship to a bad one, to a toxic one, to a worse one. So make sure you count your blessings. And just because you have a very strong presence and that fire sort of aura to you that you bring to relationships, don't misuse that, because that fire will burn you in the end. All right? Moving on to Capricorn. Capricorn is a very cold place. Venus in Capricorn, Venus and Saturn makes very well when it comes to materializing objective things such as like money, assets, different things like that. When it comes to the love realm, it can be a very seductive thing because these people lead with their pockets, they lead with their power, they lead with their skills. And when you have this here, it means that you're somebody who relies on your status and your money to then seduce other people, whether you be a man or a woman. That sort of lifestyle is what attracts people to you. It's sort of like Scorpio, where you're mysterious, but they see that status and that energy that you have. Even if you're not there yet, they sense the ambition and they want to get to know you more. You make sure you use that in the sense of, I would recommend finding a partner that has the same mindset of you, that wants to build, that wants to create a grid structure, and then building with that said person, creating partnerships, maybe even making a business with that person, and that's how your relationship is going to come together the best. Moving on, we have Aquarius. Aquarius is interesting because they're very distant, almost more distant than even Scorpio. So when we have Aquarius with Venus conjunction here, we have somebody who's going to be very, very, they're going to be a black sheep. They could be quite flamboyant. They could be quite different in the way in which they dress, their mannerisms, their stare, their hair, everything about them might be just very different. And this is what makes them sort of attractive. They have that sort of peacocking sort of allure to them, where they're the person that you pick out in a crowd. You're like, I know that person's different. That's a very strong trait to have, but make sure that you're using that to your advantage. Of course, if you're single, you're a bachelor, bachelorette, it works great for you. But when you get in a relationship, make sure that you're not the type of person that just treats it like an acquaintance, like a friendship, and then you just move on. Similar to what I gave with Sagittarius, the same with Aquarius. Don't just move on when you learn about your partner and then find them boring, if you will. Make sure that you're taking the time to appreciate a person's character and seeing whether or not you're going to be able to spend a good amount of your time, or more or less a lifetime, with them. If that's not the case, you don't see that investment, be honest, be forefront, and cut it out from those times. At least that way you save yourself the pain and save that said person that may be in love with you the pain of being in a long-term relationship and then you end up cheating, or you end up just leaving them for no apparent reason. All right? Last one is Pisces. Venus in Pisces is a very, very beautiful position. This is somebody who's more or less a spiritual healer. They could be sort of a psychiatrist or doctor in their relationship. They're the type of people that really want to heal other people. They want to make sure that they're the nurturer, whether they be a man or a woman. They are similar to Scorpio in the sense that they have a sort of spiritual cool to them. They're able to really look through a person and see their soul. And no matter what their sun sign is, when it comes to their love life, it's going to be extremely deep, extremely intimate, and very sentimental. Make sure if you have this in this position that you do not get heartbroken. Understand that not everybody's going to share this sentiment, and you need to be very careful and cautious with who you give your heart to. Lead with your mind first, and then go with the heart after. Analyze who you're dealing with. Understand that they're another human being, but they have different viewpoints as you, and they may not view relationships with the same depth that you do. Until you realize that that depth is there, that love is kind of equivalent on both ends, be cautious, and then make sure that you are going all into the right person. But that should end it off, guys. Like I said, it's a very easy one to go over because Venus is such a positive sort of planet to have. So whatever sign it goes into, it's really just more or less about the love, about the beauty, the romance, the friendships, the alliances, how everybody comes together and in connection. But you just need to make sure that you use your zodiac sign with Venus in a correct way and do not get taken advantage of. That's what I've explained throughout this video. If you guys do have any questions regarding it, just let me know in the comments. But aside from that, guys, please like, subscribe, holla at me. That's it for today, guys. Peace.